It was at this moment that he knew.
His tires rubbed. So, looks like we got a little bit of a rubbing issue with the rear suspension, but we're going to take care of that right now.
You have chosen wisely.
Alright guys, today I will be installing a pair of Bora 3/4 inch wheel spacers specifically for the rear of the truck, because at full stuff, as you saw in that clip, I am rubbing the top. I'll show you in just a minute when I get the tire up, but I am rubbing the shock body right here in the rear at full stuff. So I went ahead and ordered a set, one pair of the Bora 3/4 inch spacers, which is going to space the wheel out that much, of course, and hopefully alleviate that issue. Now I know wheel spacers get a bad reputation, but if you get a reputable brand such as Bora or Spider Tracks, and off the top of my head those are the only ones I can think of that are actually recommended by anyone who knows anything, they do have their place. And specifically here, it's really just to get rid of some rub on the suspension. I know some people slap them on for aesthetic reasons, just to make the tires poke out a little bit, but you can see here on the passenger side with the offset of my wheels, they already stick out about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, so not doing this just for looks. I did go ahead and do the driver's side yesterday just to sort of see how the process goes. It's very straightforward. There you can see, I'll put a picture up on the screen now where you can see a quick before and after, but of course it's literally just 3/4 of an inch difference.
That's what she said. That's what she said.
And getting ready to get the rear of the truck off the ground, but I just wanted to quickly share my new favorite tool accessory. This is like a jack pad. I had another one of these. It was more like a hockey puck style. It was a little thicker, but this one I like. It's a little larger diameter. Completely goes around the part of the jack right here, so you can avoid that metal-to-metal contact. I'll put a link for this in the description. I want to say it was like 10 bucks. If you guys are using floor jacks on your diffs to lift the rear of the truck or the front of the truck or wherever, avoid that metal-to-metal contact. Check this thing out. Okay guys, so I am just doing the wheel spacers on the rear. And if you're doing this yourself at home, following along, whether or not you're doing it just to clear some suspension or just for looks and installing a complete set of 4 wheel spacers, the install process is going to be the same, and here are the tools needed. Of course, you need the wheel spacer of your choice, and again, I would recommend either Bora or Spider Tracks, a dead blow hammer, a couple of wire brushes, some brake clean, AntiSeize lubricant, and the high strength red thread locker. Of course, whatever tools you need to get the tire off your truck, and a torque wrench to torque the lugs for your wheel, and the new, I guess, lugs or nuts that come with the wheel spacers. I will put links for all of this stuff, including where I got my wheel spacers. I want to say they're about 100 bucks in the video description below. And the first step, since the wheel spacer is literally going around the studs right here and resting against your drums right here, we need to go ahead and clean all this off. Most of this is just dirt, so it should brush right off. So I've got the wire brushes, just using some hand ones, not getting crazy like with the Dremel or anything. And then I'm gonna hit everything with a brake clean to get it nice and clean. I actually have a dedicated bucket that fits easily under all this when I'm using brake clean. I found like those Home Depot buckets sit a little too tall, so I definitely recommend like checking one of these out. I don't know, I got it at Walmart or something, a couple bucks. And I literally just use it to catch the brake clean stuff. You don't want to be getting that stuff anywhere else since it's pretty nasty. And of course, make sure you are wearing something to protect your lungs, since this dust is going to go pretty much wherever, and if there's rust or anything nasty in there, you don't want to be breathing that in. And be mindful of the wind. Okay, while that's drying, one quick thing to mention for your wheels, and this is something you might want to check before you consider getting spacers. In case the studs for the spacers stick out beyond where the actual spacer is, you might want to check to see if the back of your wheel actually has these pockets. You can see on mine, these are Stealth Custom Series F5s, but it looks like it gives about 1 inch of a gap. So if the stud for the spacer was sticking out 1 inch beyond, it looks like I'd be okay. I'll show you in just a second, but once I get them installed, mine stick out just a little bit, and not really a big deal because there's plenty of gap right here. Okay, so before you guys flip out, yeah, I probably should have done a better job cleaning this off, but it's the middle of winter right now, so in the spring I do plan on actually taking the drums off and completely like sanding them down to bare metal and putting a fresh coat of paint on them just to get the nasty rust patina off. So For the time being, the next step for our install is to put AntiSeize wherever the back of the spacer is going to contact the plate of your drum right here, just so you don't have those metals seized together. Even though the spacers are aluminum and this is steel, I don't know if anyone with chemistry experience will the aluminum fuse to the steel. I know steel to steel would quickly do that, but we're going to go ahead and, I mean, you can paint it on the back of the spacer or just right here on the drum face. I'm going to do it on the drum face. And one thing I think I forgot to mention, make sure you get the AntiSeize on the, I guess, the lip right here of the hub and the center, since that is also going to be making metal-to-metal contact. Next step, getting ready to get the spacer actually on, take your red, high-strength thread locker. Do not use blue, make sure it's red. This is the heavy-duty stuff. You don't want the bolts, the nuts holding the spacer on to go flying off at highway speed, even though they're going to be torqued to spec. This is your fail-safe right here. And we're going to put a little of the thread locker on each of the factory studs. Time to actually get the spacer on. I'm going to sort of get it into position and carefully tap it with my dead blow hammer into place to get it started. And then once it's relatively even, like parallel to the back surface there, I will start the nuts, just tighten each one a little bit, sort of going around, you know, star pattern until that is firmly sucked up against the surface and get that torqued down. Quick tip, if you make sure the Bora spacer is close to the 12 o'clock position up here so you can easily see it when you take your wheel off, that'll give you 5 extra horsepower. And you can quote me on that.
Tap it in. Just tap it in. Give it a little tappy.
Feel like I have to say it just in case when you're hammering this, and this is just a dead blow hammer, but still, just make sure you don't hit the actual studs and risk bending those. This side went on a lot easier than the other side. I felt like I had to tap the other side just a little bit more, but this side, it feels like it's pretty much there. So I'll go ahead and get the nuts on and get this tightened and torqued down. And with all 6 of the nuts hand tight, we're going to go ahead and torque them down in a star pattern to 85 foot-pounds. Alright guys, getting close to the end here. Here is the poke from the stud here. You can see the factory stud. It looks like it's sticking out, I don't know, like 2 threads. So really, all we got to do now is get the wheel back on there and get that torqued down, and we are done. One quick thing to mention, I suppose you could also put thread locker here on the outer surface of the spacer so you avoid that metal-to-metal contact between this and the back of your wheel. I have my wheels off the truck at least every few weeks, so I'm not worried about, you know, the metal having time to actually fuse together. So if you don't take your wheels off, but maybe once or twice a year, that might be something to consider. I'm going to skip it though. And of course, I totally forgot to show you where my tire was rubbing on the shock body up there while the tire was off, but you can still see it up here at the top, these dark smudges. Hopefully that's going to show up on camera right here and sort of down in here, this area. Nothing crazy, not like it even gouged the surface. It's a little smudge. Nothing big, but obviously something you want to avoid if you can. And there is the new rear poke, which is looking pretty impressive, if I do say so myself.
Very sexy stuff. Very, very sexy.
All right, everybody, that will do it for the 3/4 inch Bora rear spacer install. I'm gonna go for a quick test drive, so if this video doesn't get uploaded, I did it wrong and wrecked my truck. So hopefully you'll hear from me in just a little bit. As always, thank you so much for supporting the channel by watching this video. Enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you in the next video.